Station Houston for Koichi-sama. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, yes, I am ready for the event.
JAXA, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is JAXA, Tsukuba Space Center. How do you read me?
JAXA Tsukuba Space Center, Mukai-san, I have you loud and clear.
Thank you. Wakata-san, konbanwa.
Hello, Wakata-san. This is Dr. Chiaki Mukai. I am here at the Space Experiment Laboratory of Tsukuba Space Center with members from Japanese organization related to human health and also students from elementary and junior high schools participating in Mission X program. We have just finished an exciting discussion to talk about human health in space and on the ground. And we did a little exercise for Mission X. Now we are excited to talk with you. Shall we start? And we are going to have about 10 people asking questions to you. Our first question. I am Shinichi Nagano, exercise demonstrator. Is it possible to use a rubber tube for exercise in space?
はい、いい質問ですね。ですね、チューブを使った
Thank you. Very good question.
で、先ほど、古川宇宙
Exercise using tube is very much possible.
筋力訓練装置について説明
And as astronaut Furukawa talked about our exercise machine that we used here for muscle exercise, and here I have a rubber tool that is used for stretching, and so we can do exercise using this kind of tool. We also do jogging and cycle type of exercise machine, and we use this kind of spring type of equipment as well in order to maintain muscle and in order to prevent reduction of the muscle and also the bone mass. So we use treadmill and also other kind of resistant type of equipment for exercise. I am Masako Tanabe from Radio Calisthenics Association in Soka City. When you use exercise machine in space, are there any differences to keeping the center of gravity of your body between on the ground and in space? Well, that's a really wonderful question. Thank you. On the ground, for example, you may do exercise like using weight like a dumbbell to lift weight. However, we cannot do that in space. Therefore, what we do is to do resisting with the air pressure. So that kind of a different kind of loading system we use for exercise. And what's important here is this is resistive equipment, and this is for strengthening the lower leg. So you try to raise your heel to exercise your lower leg. And you have to think about the muscle that you want to strengthen, and also like a spine or at the thigh. It is important to have the load where you want to strengthen. So you have to think about the center of gravity and also rotation, angle, and also the direction that you move. So we have to be very careful about the direction when you do those kind of exercise. I am Yoshihiro Kaya from Japan Barrier-Free Association. I have muscle dystrophy, and I cannot raise anything that is heavier than chopsticks, and I need 24-hour care on the ground. And can patients like me live without being cared for in space?
はい、加谷さん、素晴らしいご質問ありがとうございます。今日はこのイベントに参加していただいてありがとうございます。
Mr. Kaya, thank you very much for wonderful question, and thank you also for participating to this event. On the ground, standing up against gravity and moving against gravity is necessary on the ground. However, in space, as you can see, I can float around, like now what I'm doing. So I do not have bed sore, and you don't really need strength to move around in space. So when we want to move in space, if you just push the wall, then you can easily move around in space. So in this kind of microgravity environment, probably in terms of moving your body, you would be able to do a lot of things without being cared for. So in the future, utilizing this kind of microgravity environment, there may be quite a lot of application for caring. I hope that will happen in the future.
Copy.
I am Kyo Anna Hasegawa from Japan Society of General Gymnastics. Do you have any means to enjoy simple exercise such as keep rhythm, listening to music, for example? Do you do any exercise or workout other than scheduled training to change mood or to deepen relation with your crewmate?
私たちクルーはみんな、音楽を聴きながらまた
We crew on International Space Station, we often listen to music. We also watch TV programs or movies when we do exercise. For example, when I do jogging or cycle type of exercise, which can be monotonous, then I watch news program which was sent from the ground. And also when I do muscle type of training, I listen to music. So listening to music and do exercise, I feel more refreshed to do those exercises, I think. Also, other than exercise, for relaxation and change the mood, what's best is to view beautiful Earth together with our crew and take pictures and talk over different things with our crewmate. Those are very precious time for us to get refreshed. I am Kiyoji Tanaka from Japan Society of Health Promotion. Are you conscious of loss of your muscle power or strength in your body in space? And do you feel any effect of your cognitive function? Thank you very much for a wonderful question. About loss of muscle power, unless you're using, we lose quite a lot of strength, and that can happen not only in space but also on the ground. So immediately after coming to the space, first 1 or 2 weeks, the amount of movement and exercise is limited. So within 1 week or 2 weeks, I feel the strength weakening, like squatting power. However, we do aerobic exercises about 2 hours a day. So after some time in space, I am gradually regaining the power that I used to have on the ground. And maybe now I have more strength since I arrived on space. And regarding the cognitive function, that really depends on the health condition or strength as you are on the ground. And in my case as well, it's about 2 months or so since I came here on space. And my cognitive function, I was participating as a subject to check the responses. And depending upon the stress and also how tired I am, the quickness in responding is affected by the kind of stress level. I am Masuda from Japan Health Promotion and Fitness Foundation. What exercise should we do to avoid being bedridden even if you are aged?
はい、素晴らしい質問ありがとうございます。私は運動の専門家ではないですけども。
Thank you very much for wonderful question. I am not an expert in exercise, but I think I'm doing quite a lot of exercise. But what's important is, I think, enjoying the exercise. So even if it's not quite a lot of exercise, but it's important to do exercise regularly that you enjoy. And on top of that, it's important to have a good, healthy food and also sufficient sleep. So exercise, food, and sleeping, those are important not only in space but also on the ground. So I also pay attention to those three factors. I am Haruki Watanabe from Yatabe Elementary School. Please tell us about your childhood days when you were in elementary school. What made you want to be an astronaut? And what kind of efforts did you make to be an astronaut?
いい質問ありがとう。そうですね。小さい頃は
Thank you for the good question. Well, when I was little, I used to run around on the field. I used to catch insects or crabs, or I flew model planes and run around. So that was the kind of kid that I used to be. And when I was 5 years old, I saw Apollo landed on the moon on TV. At that time, Mr. Mori or Mr. Mukai were not traveling to space, so I thought that the space was out of reach. However, since I was very little, I was very much interested in aeroplanes, so I studied very hard for that. So I studied in order to be an engineer for airplane, and my experience as an aeroplane engineer helped me to be an astronaut. So whatever it is, something that you studied very hard is going to be useful for the future. So it's important for you to have a strong target and work toward it and believe in it. I am Karin Hayashida from Uedo Elementary School. Do you plan any special methods to lead the crew from Russia and the United States as an ISS commander? Again, thank you very much for a wonderful question. Now, there are crews from U.S. and Russia, and 6 crew members, including myself, are working here, and each one of those crew members have great capability. They are wonderful members. In order to do a good job as a good team, it is important what each of the crew members have, the target and for what they are working toward. So understanding them is very important, and I want to be supportive for them to achieve their goals, and by doing that we can get a trusting relationship. And by building trusting relationship, we will have a very good work as a team in order to use the International Space Station as a whole. So enhancing trusting relationship between team members is very important, and it's not limited to crew members, but also all the control center on the space and also engineers, all the people who are related to this work. And that kind of very big teamwork is going to be very important, and that's what I value. I am Yuko Kondo of Higashi Elementary School. I think mankind will live in space in the future. At that time, do you think they will live in zero gravity or with some kind of artificial gravity? Kondo-san, that's very interesting question. And I don't think there is an answer to that question. Maybe Dr. Mukai, who is there, have experienced non-gravity environment here, and also like Mars or Moon, which is less gravity, and Dr. Mukai have continued her study in that kind of area. And when we see the findings from those studies, probably we will have answer to your question in the future. And what's interesting is that humankind can adapt to zero gravity environment quite quickly. Therefore, in the future, probably we human beings will be able to adapt to the environment that we would travel in the future. And probably human will evolve according to new environment eventually. Thank you very much for your very wonderful question. I am Yoshitake Sato from Minami Elementary School. Do you have any favorite saying, proverbs or mottos? And when you face some difficulties, how do you overcome these difficulties? Mr. Sato, thank you very much for your wonderful question. What I always value, actually there are three important words that I value: dream, exploring spirit, and thoughtfulness. In order to achieve something, it's important to have very clear dream or target and work toward it, and then you will see the path that reaches you to the dream. And when you have difficulties, if you value the exploring spirit, you always think how you can overcome those difficulties and work toward the dream or the target. And also in your work or in your life, there are only limited things that you can do by yourself. But by joining power with other people, you can have very big power as a team. Therefore, thoughtfulness or consideration to your friends, colleagues, are very important. And that's how I value in my work and my life. So in my life, in space, I work very hard with those three mottos in my mind. Thank you very much for a wonderful question. Mr. Wakata, thank you very much. We are always in support of you, and you are going to work as the first Japanese commander on the International Space Station. We have about 2 minutes, so please send us some message from you, from space. Well, first of all, thank you very much for participating to this event on the theme of exercise and health. Kawai-san, Furukawa-san, and JAXA-san, I believe, gave you some lectures, and you had some talk on health on those themes. And health is very important in space too, and I pay attention to health. So I also have shown you some exercise equipment that we use in space. So regular exercise and also healthy food and sufficient sleep, those are very important for your health. So I hope that you also pay attention to those three factors. And those of you who are participating to this program, each individual have great power, great potential, and especially children, please analyze by yourself what kind of person you are and see the dream that you want to work towards and continue our hard work towards the future. And also, I believe that those children who are here, maybe in the future, some of you would join me in space to do this kind of work. Thank you very much for your participation to this program. Thank you very much, Mr. Wakata-san. I believe that you are hearing great cheers and claps from here. I hope that you continue to have good health and do your good work.
またお会いできることを楽しみにしています。どうぞ皆さん。
Thank you very much. I'm hoping to see you again and hope for your good health. Goodbye.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
どうもありがとうございました。JAXA Station. We are now resuming operational audio communications.